Welcome. So we'll start with the next set of problems from 21 to 40 for CSET paper 2. Now the very first question talks about the agriculture sector. It shows that how the highest decadal growth was achieved in 1980s at 3 to 5%. That was for agriculture, and then after that there has been spurts of decadal growth. The agriculture has suffered stagnation. There was a sharp contrast to non-agriculture, which consistently increased from 1980s to 2000. Now this can be clearly attributed to the benefit of the economic reforms, but that coming slowly to the agriculture sector as compared to other sector, because for the non-agriculture there has been a consistent increase which has been cited. Now there has been no mention of green revolution. It cannot be attributed to mechanization, and rural to urban migration is not talked about. So the only correct option here can be A. The next is, with the passage it says that growing divergence between the fortunes of agriculture and non-agricultural and economy in India could have been reduced by. There has been no reference to the historical patterns for commercial or corporate farming, so this cannot be the option. Neither there has been the provisions for insurance, so this cannot be the option. So neither of these would be a valid option. The next question talks about handloom industry in India, and it shows that these are discounted, but they have struggle to fight for their existence. And the last line is the key. Against this backdrop, when we promote handloom as a traditional industry, it is not surprising that large section of the population choose to ignore it, right? So the idea is we need to free the handloom industry from the limited narrative linked to preserving the culture. So the correct answer here would be A. Now again, the two statements that talk about there is no need for the state to be involved, there is no such mention, so this is incorrect. Handlooms are no longer appealing and attractive in the rapid changing world, that can be attributed to the last line of the sentence, and therefore 2 would be the correct option here. I hope that's clear. The next question, consider the first 100 natural numbers. Now how many of them are not divisible by any of these numbers? So understand, root of 100 is what? Root of 100 is 10. It's important to understand all the numbers which are composite up to 100 would be divisible by all the numbers which are prime up to 10. Okay, understand this rule. So up to 100, any number which is composite would be divisible by any number which is prime up to 10. Okay, now that means if I take number as 14, this would be divisible by 7, as simple as that. Now how many of them are not divisible by 2, 3, 5, 9 and 7? So up to 100, how many prime numbers are there? There are 25 prime numbers. And I am saying that the prime numbers cannot be 2, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So I remove these 5 prime numbers. So how many prime numbers left? 20. So my answer here would be 20. The next question, very interesting. The maximum value of x plus y. So x maximum value can be 8. Y maximum value can be 7. So the maximum value of x plus y can be how much? It can be 8 plus 7, 15. Now for the minimum, you might get it as 2 and this is 4, and then do 4 minus 2, understanding it as 2, but that would be incorrect. We can land up to the negative values as well. So what would be the minimum value of y? Minimum value of y, I take here x is equal to 4, and then for y, I take the highest value, which is 7. I can also do x is equal to 8 and y is equal to 2, but then x minus y would be positive. Okay, so I am taking the highest value of y, lowest value of x, so that would give me x minus y, that is 4 minus 7, that is minus 3. So my answer would be 15 by minus 3, and none of the choice here reveals this answer. So my correct answer would be none of these. The next question is a very interesting question. I have to take P and K, both are prime numbers, such that P square plus K is also a prime number which is less than 30. So first of all, I'll jot down all the prime numbers up to 30. So it's 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29. Understand this very carefully. I cannot take prime number greater than 5, because as soon as I take 7 square, it is 49. I have to keep the number less than 30. So P square, if goes above that, above 25, it cannot be the answer. So the only 3 numbers I can take here, these 3, right? Now with these 3, I have to create the unique values. So for example, I take 2. Okay, these numbers. So I subtract from 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29. So what I get is basically the numbers as 3, 7, 9, 13, 15, 19 and 25. Now of these numbers which are prime, I can consider only these because these two are prime and the final result is also prime. So non-prime numbers I remove it, these I remove it. Okay, so the only numbers which are capable with 2 I can take is 3, 7, 13 and 19. Okay, so with p is equal to 2, my possible values for k are 3, 7, 13, 19. Similarly, I take p is equal to 3. For p is equal to 3, my possible value for k would be only 2. And when I take p is equal to 5, there is no possible value which would exist for k in that case, because this would become 25 and then I am left with only 5, which is not an option. I have to keep them as a distinct number, right? So this plus k, which is 2, would be less. Okay, so my prime range is only 27 and 29 in this case. So that case I need to add 2 or 4. Both of them are non-prime. So with p is equal to 5, I can have no value of k. For p is equal to 3, I can have 1 value of k, and for k is equal to 2, I can have 4 values, as I said, 3, 7, 13 and 19. So total 1 and 4, total 5 values are possible in this case. I hope that's clear. The next is a very interesting problem. I have LCM equal to 1001 and HCF is equal to 1. So LCM is equal to 1001. That means my factors are 7, 11 and 13. And my HCF has to be 1. That means only in 2 places I can have the same number which is repeated. Let's say if 7 repeats at 3 places, what would happen? Then my HCF would turn out to be 7. So I cannot repeat 7 at 3 places, but I can repeat 7 at 2 places. So what could be my possible combinations of number? My number can be 7, 11, 13. My number can be 7 into 11, 1 and 13. My number can be 13 into 11, then 1, then 7, then 1, 1, 7 into 11 into 13. Okay, then I can have 7, 11 and 13 and so on. I can have numerous numbers, so definitely more than 8. So more than 8 would be the correct answer. I hope you got the basic logic to solve this problem. The simple idea is you cannot repeat the same number thrice. You can repeat the same number only and only twice. Now the next question is an interesting question. Understand this carefully. P plus Q plus R PQR is equal to PPT plus PS. So I do it in the conventional form as children do. So PPT and PS would give me PQR. Okay, PQR. Now all of these numbers have to be distinct. Q I already know is 3. Okay, what can be the value of 1? I cannot take 2, that would become 4. I have to maintain 3 here. So the only value of P that can go is 1. So 1 and 1, if the value goes here, that means I have to have a carry over here. Okay, then only I can have P as 1. Now I keep it as P as 1. So 1, 1 T, 1 S gives me 1, 3 R. That's what I get, right? Now understand, combination of T, S and R has to be very, very unique. Now T can only be less than 6. I would write all the numbers less than 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0. Now I take S. For this as 0, I need to take S as 10. But S cannot be 10. It could be a single digit number. I remove this. If this is 1, S would be 9. Okay. If this is 9, then what would happen? I would have 0 and a carry over 1. Right. So this can be a possibility. With 5, this would be 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then this would be 9 again. It cannot be 10 here. Okay, now if I am taking 9, 9 is a unique value, so I take with 2 or 1, that does not matter. Now what is important is every value has to be unique. So if I take 5 and 6, okay, understand this carefully. If I take 5 and 6, I end up with a value 1 as R. Right, because I add this, it becomes 11. So 1 becomes, R becomes 11, 1. So that cannot be the case because P is already assigned 1. So P is equal to 1, Q is equal to 3. That we already know. So this combination cannot be possible. So with 5, what can go? With 5, 7 can go. With 5, 8 again cannot go, because if I take 8, it becomes 3 again. So with 5, 9 can go. This would become 4. So this is a possibility, right? So with 5, these two values can go. With 4, what values can go? With 4, I cannot take 7 because it would turn out to be 1. With 4, I can take 8. That value can go, right? Okay. And with 3, I cannot take 8. With 3, I can take 9. With 3, I can take 9 because it would turn out to be 2, right? So that value is possible. And with 2, I cannot take 9 because again it would turn out to be 1, which is not the possibility. With 1, I cannot take, I can take 9, but this would turn out to be 0, and it says it has to be a distinct non-zero. So this possibility cannot exist. So 4 such possibilities can exist so far. Now, if I substitute these 4 values here, what I would get is a basic thing where I would be missing something out, right? So let me just check. So 1, 1, 5 and 1, 7 gives me what? 2, 1, 3, 1. Okay, so this is all values distinct, that is correct. Then I take 1, 1, 5 and 1, 9. So it is 4, 1, 3, 1. Okay, so again correct. Then I take this value as 4. So 1, 1, 4 and 1, 8. So this gives me 2, 1, 3, 1. Okay, that is again a possibility. Then I take 1, 1, 3 and 1, 9. Okay, this 3 I cannot take because 3 is already assigned. So this cannot be a possibility, right? So the pairs that can be taken are only these. So now what is the possible values of R and S? So these 3 possible values are for T and S. So the 3 combinations would be for R and S as well. So I would have 3 values that could be feasible. Very, very interesting problem. Now, this is an interesting sequence. I have to just fill the sequence. So it is ABB, CCC, ABB, CCC, ABB, ABB, CCC, ABB, CCC, ABB, CCC. So that's the fill in the blanks, that is BC, BAC. Now, in a country, regrettably, teaching and learning of the examination has been the main idea, but we are moving away from learning by doing, thinking independently, critical thinking, and that's the focus. So we are, basically the idea is teaching has to be reinvented. Now teaching has to be reinvented is met with which of the following ideas? That classroom needs to be reimagined and teaching needs to be reinvented. As simple as that. So D is the correct option. Now here, based on the line, in India, sufficient funds are not allocated for higher education is not the idea. Higher education is evolving and we need to align to new development. That's totally correct. So 1 would be the correct option. The next question, if there is inequality in the pattern of population growth, there is greater inequality in food production, and it says with higher, wealthier a person goes, the consumption for animal products increases. Now for animal product to increases, the subsequent grain and legume foods have to increase. However, only 16% of the calorie fed to the chicken is recovered by us that we eat them. So this conversion rate goes 5 to 7% in larger animals. So what is the idea? The idea is there is a basic thing that this conversion of plant to animal food is far from efficient. Okay, so this conversion is not efficient. There is, that is the basic idea which is explained into 2, that animal food is far less efficient in terms of production and utilization, right? So that's the key basis for the proposition. Now, wealthier society tend to incur greater loss in calories due to indirect utilization for the agriculture produce that increases. So animal produce increases, so that is clearly what is being indicated. The food manufacturing in every country should align to the needs of the society is not mentioned. So 2 only would be the correct option. The next is an interesting problem. I have to first find out the factors. So factor of 7 is 7 raised to 1. 343 is 7 raised to 3. 385 is 5 into 7 into 11. Then 1000 is 10 raised to power 3. 2401 is 7 raised to power 4, and 77777 is 7 into 1111, right? Now what would happen is 35 raised to n is equal to 5 into 7 raised to n. Clear? Now 5 can be up to power 4 and 7 can be up to power 10, as we can see from the solutions here, but the maximum power of both can remain the same. So 7 can also go up to power 4. So 4 would be the correct option here. I hope that's clear. Now here the sequence is simple. 24 multiplied by 0.5 would give me 12. 12 multiplied by 1 would give me 12. 12 multiplied by 1.5 would give me 18. 18 multiplied by 2 would give me 36. 36 multiplied by 2.5 would give me 90. So that's, I'm multiplying by 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So my correct answer here would be 12 in sequence. The next is P and Q are working on a circular track. Very interesting problem. Now P, the average round is 5. Q, the average round, the average speed is 3 rounds per hour, and for P it is 5 rounds, for Q it is 3 rounds. So they cross each other 8 times a hour, right? Now when they are crossing 8 times a hour, time per crossing is 1 by 8, right? So 1 by 8 I convert into minutes. That means 7.5 minutes. Every 7.5 minutes they cross. So first 7.5 minutes they would cross, then 15 minutes they would cross, 22.5 minutes they would cross, 30 minutes they would cross. Now the third crossing would occur when? This would occur at 5 hours, 22 minutes, 30 seconds, and the 16th crossing would occur exactly on 7 a.m. right? If I keep multiplying, that's what you would have to do. Now exact 7 p.m. we won't count. We have to count between these, right? So from 3rd to 16th one would not be counted. So 13 crossings would be there to actually, they would cross each other 13 times. Now this is a simple BODMAS operation. Just substitute Q, R, P, S here. So that is minus, then multiply, then plus, and then divide, and you would land up with the answer 20. So it's a direct BODMAS problem, a simple problem. The next is an interesting problem. I have a train overtakes 2 persons, X and Y, walking at an average speed of 3 and 4 in the same direction, and completely pass them in 8 seconds and 9 seconds. So time is 8 seconds and 9 seconds. The speed is 3 hours and 4 hours, right? So I have train length by S minus 3 is equal to 8 in one case, and in the other case length would be S minus 4, which is the average speed, is equal to 9. When I solve these two equations, I get length is equal to 20. So that's what my solution would be, a very direct question. So length of the train would be 20 in that case, right? Now the next question, a very simple question. N square is this number. Now if you observe the number carefully, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is, it is the square of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 3, 3, 6, 7, 9. Okay, so 9 times square. So how many digits does the number n have? Number n have 9 digits. Okay, so you counted till 9 and then you ate another 9. Okay, so that's what the basic idea is. The square of this would be this number, right? So 9 digits would be there, so 9 would be the answer. I hope that's clear. So this was the second set. We'll be coming up with the next 2 sets shortly. Of course, our mains preparation material is available on the link below, and for prelims, if you have problems, similar problems and the previous problems we have compiled in our database on Doorstep, so you can watch that. Wish you all the best. Thanks for joining in.